Coming up, a major cartel shakeup has led to violence in Mexico, leaving some Americans stranded.
This year's Olympics had the most viewers in over a decade.
And a lunar eclipse could be visible next week.
All that plus weather, entertainment, and sports. Coming up on PS News.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sylvia Mania.
And I'm Brooklyn Silva. Thanks for joining us today.
American tourists in western Mexico are facing travel disruptions after deadly violence erupted following a major cartel operation. Several airlines suspended flights to cities including Puerto Vallarta and Guadalajara, with many routes not to resume until a few days later. The unrest began after Mexican forces killed the leader of the Jalisco New Generation cartel. U.S. officials say American intelligence supported the operation. In the aftermath, suspected cartel members torched buses and businesses, blocked highways, and clashed with security forces across multiple states. The U.S. Department of State is urging Americans in affected areas to shelter in place, avoid crowds, and monitor local updates. Officials say the State Department's crisis hotline has received hundreds of calls since Sunday as disruptions continue.
The Trump administration is preparing to release billions in disaster aid, but some states in need won't be seeing any of that money. According to sources, more than $5 billion in relief funding is set to be awarded. But several Democratic-led states, including California, Minnesota, and Colorado, were left off the list. Some sources suggest the move follows clashes between President Donald Trump and governors in those states. However, the Department of Homeland Security says politics did not factor into the decision, calling it a matter of results. California is still waiting on more than $1 billion in FEMA aid from last year's deadly wildfires. Meanwhile, Colorado and Minnesota are seeking reimbursement for recent storm recovery costs.
The Winter Olympics in Italy turned into a big win for broadcasters, drawing one of the largest audiences in years. NBC says it averaged about 23.5 million viewers for the 2026 Winter Olympics. That marks the biggest Olympic audience since 2014 and nearly double the viewership of the 2022 Winter Games. The total includes combined viewing across traditional TV and streaming, including Peacock, CNBC, and the USA Network. NBC says strong storylines and star performances helped drive the surge in interest. The network also says the Olympics gave Peacock its most watched month ever, highlighting how streaming continues to play a bigger role in how audiences watch major global events.
A dramatic road collapse in Omaha left 2 cars swallowed by a sudden sinkhole, but miraculously, no one was hurt. Witnesses say bystanders rushed in to help both drivers escape safely. Police confirmed nobody was hurt. One man said he felt a dip in the road just minutes before the collapse. Another said he noticed low water pressure before seeing emergency crews rush to the scene. Tow trucks later pulled both vehicles from the hole as police and fire crews secured the area. Now, officials are working to figure out what caused the sudden failure. They say the road will likely be closed for several days while crews assess the damage. Utility officials say there was no prior work in the area and they're still investigating the cause, adding there are concerns the damage could spread if the underlying infrastructure is compromised.
Early risers will have a chance to catch a rare celestial show next week, a total lunar eclipse just before sunrise. A total lunar eclipse will be visibly early Tuesday, March 3rd, briefly turning the full moon into a deep red. The event happens when Earth moves directly between the sun and the moon, casting a shadow across the lunar surface. As sunlight passes through Earth's atmosphere, red and orange wavelengths reach the moon, creating what is often called a blood moon. Unlike a solar eclipse, no special eye protection is needed to watch it safely. The partial phase begins around 4:50 a.m. with a totality starting just after 6 and lasting about 20 minutes before moonset. Forecasts call for dry conditions Tuesday morning, but clear skies will be key for the best view, so set your alarm if you want a glimpse.
The Student Association at SUNY Plattsburgh approved a new club, 2 senators, and funding for a campus event during its latest meeting. The Cardinal Samba Club was granted provisional status in a 14-1 vote. The club aims to bring Brazilian samba music and dance to campus and has already drawn interest from students in the music department. The association also approved 2 new senators, Junior Sammy Goodman, who previously served on the finance board, and Senior Emmanuel Aferdez, a finance and economics major. Finally, the club Beauty Bar received $500 to support upcoming events like nail and DIY workshops. The group says about 15 to 20 students attend each event. The funding for the Beauty Bar passed in a 13-2 vote. Student leaders say the decisions are a part of an effort to encourage more student engagement and support new and growing organizations on campus. We'll be back with a look at your weather after the break. Stay tuned.
See the heart of the Adirondack Park aboard the Adirondack Railroad. Now operating from 3 departure stations, the Adirondack Railroad will take you to destinations like Old Forge, Tupper Lake, and many scenic locations along the line. Adirondack Railbike Adventures is your front seat to nature, operating excursions from Tupper Lake and Old Forge. Check out the variety of train rides, including beer and wine trains, special event trains, dinner trains, scenic train rides with and without layovers, and more. The open-air car brings you even closer to the Adirondack wilderness, and the dome car offers panoramic views and first-class service. Adirondack Railroad trains will take you where roads don't go, and the trains are fully accessible and fun for all ages. Visit AdirondackRR.com for more information and to book your journey today. Adirondack Railroad is operated by Adirondack Railway Preservation Society, a 501c3 nonprofit organization.
Hello everyone, PS News weatherman John Carduello here with a look at your local weather. Starting over in Owl's Head, we have a 32 degrees, just barely freezing. Vermontville at 33 degrees, Dannemore at 34, Oswego Forks at 36, Plattsburgh at 33, just above freezing. I still recommend a coat. 32 at St. Albans City and 34 in Williston, Burlington, and Colchester area. Now on to your 5-day forecast. Starting off today, we have 33 degrees and cloudy, 44 degrees and a little bit rainy on Saturday. We're getting some sun on Sunday, but it's going to be colder, unfortunately. And then moving into Monday and Tuesday, we're going to be getting more clouds. It's going to be cold on Monday and thankfully warming up a little bit on Tuesday. That's it for your weather. Now let's go back to the desk for entertainment.
Good afternoon, Plattsburgh. I'm Alexa Mejia. Let's take a look at what's happening in Hollywood. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has revealed its nominees for 2026, and as always, the list is already sparking debate among fans. Some are celebrating the range of artists, while others are questioning who made the cut. This year's ballot is the largest ever, featuring 17 artists with 10 first-time nominees. Among them, Phil Collins, Pink, Wu-Tang Clan, Shakira, and Luther Vandross. Returning to the ballot are the Black Crowes and Billy Idol. Oasis is also back, despite frontman Liam Gallagher previously dismissing the hall. Heavy metal legends Iron Maiden will also return for their 3rd nomination. Inductees will be selected through a combination of fan voting and industry panelists, with the final class expected to be announced later this year. A Grammy Award-winning rap superstar is heading to Broadway, bringing hip-hop star power to one of the stage's biggest spectacles. Megan Thee Stallion will join Moulin Rouge, the musical, for an 8-week run beginning March 24th. Megan will take on the role of Zidler, the impresario of the famed Paris nightclub, at the heart of the show. She becomes the first woman to play the character in the Broadway production's 7-year run. Producers say her appearance will feature a touch of her own music, woven into the show's pop-infused score. Megan says she's excited to push herself creatively and fully embrace the world of live theater. Moulin Rouge, the musical, has been a Broadway favorite since its debut, known for its elaborate costumes and contemporary song mashups. Fans of the hit series Heated Rivalry will soon have a chance to step into the story by staying in one of its most memorable filming locations. The infamous house featured in the final episode, where Shane and Elia shared their secret retreat, is now being listed on Airbnb. Starting March 3rd, fans can book the so-called Barlochin Cottage in Ontario, Canada. The property sits on the western shore of Lake Muskoka and features a private waterfront along with kayaks, canoes, and an outdoor fire pit. The rental cost is expected to run about $181 per night. Heated Rivalry debuted on November 28th on HBO Max and quickly built a strong following, averaging around 9 million viewers per episode in the US. That's the latest in entertainment this week. We'll be right back with your sports update after this brief intermission.
Warp Radio runs on Charter Channel 194, Campus Channel 10 here on campus. It gives Plattsburgh students an opportunity to be a radio DJ and see if that's something they have interest in for a future career path. You're listening to WARP, Charter Channel 194, Campus Channel 10, Plattsburgh, New York.
Hello, Plattsburgh. I'm Calvin Nelson. Let's get right into this week's sports action. The Plattsburgh State men's hockey season has unfortunately come to an end after a tough playoff loss on the road. The 6-seeded Cardinals fell 4-3 to Skidmore in the quarterfinals of the Suniac tournament Wednesday night. Skidmore opened the scoring late in the first period and built a 2-0 lead early in the second. Plattsburgh responded when senior Brandon Butler found the net to cut the deficit in half. But the Thoroughbreds answered with 2 more goals before the second intermission, taking a 4-1 lead into the third. The Cardinals pushed back late. Spencer Bellina scored midway through the final frame, and Jake Sacratini added a goal with just 1 second left in regulation. But the comeback fell short as Skidmore held on for the win. Plattsburgh State finishes the season at 13-13 overall and 9-9 in conference play, and now shifts its focus to off-season development after a gritty campaign. A remarkable comeback story has turned into Olympic gold. Team USA's Alyssa Liu has won the women's figure skating title at the 2026 Winter Games, capping a journey that included retirement and a stunning return to the sport. Liu scored 150.2 in the free skate for a combined total of 226.79, moving up from third place after the short program to claim gold. She narrowly defeated Japan's Kaori Sakamoto to become the first American woman to win Olympic gold in the event since Sarah Hughes in 2002. The victory also adds to Liu's gold in the team event earlier in Milan. Liu retired at just 16 after the 2022 games, citing that she was burnt out. She returned in 2024 with a renewed focus on artistry, won a world title in 2025, and has now completed one of the most impressive 2-year comebacks in Olympic sports history. That's all I have for sports this week, Plattsburgh. Let's get back to the desk.
Thank you everyone for tuning into this week's edition of PS News.
We're your news anchors, Brooklyn De Silva
and Sylvia Mania. Make sure to stay tuned for next weekly news update, as well as our upcoming shows.
You'll find all of those shows right here on our YouTube channel. Also, make sure to check out our Instagram at Plattsburgh State TV.
Have a great week, Plattsburgh.
Bye.